your forearms, your neck kneading and your thumb walking, you're around on the other side of the bed, and you can do the other side. So that includes, I'm just going to do it very, very quickly, okay? If you read it out to me quite quickly,
double hand effleurage.
So I'm just going to do one technique of each. So double-handed effleurage.
And forearm stretch.
Forearm stretch.
Forearm erector spine slide.
Forearm erector spine slide.
Elbow erector spine slide.
So the next one I can't really do quickly, so I'm just going to do it slowly. Otherwise it will not feel good. So elbow erector spinae slide, sink into the erector spinae, find the point of your elbow, and very slowly come up the spine. Okay.
Forearm kneading.
So forearm kneading.
Elbow around scapula.
Okay, you know how to do forearm kneading. Elbow around the scapula.
Walk the scapula.
Work the scapula, freestyle.
And arm hanging off the bed.
It's a shame because this is the shoulder that has more tension. I'm spending less time. Okay, the next is arm hanging off the bed. So I'm just going to need a little bit more oil here, I think.
To blink right and left. Forearm effleurage.
So after you've finished the arm hanging off the bed, you don't need to link right and left again. You go back to the protocol, at the end of the protocol, where it says the next step, which is
Figure 08 on the lower back.
good. So I'm going to finish with the arm hanging off the bed. Work the hand. Okay, so next we're going to do figure of 8 on the lower back. Very grounding movement. And
You can pull on opposite side, opposite lower back.
So then you're going to do 2 movements on the opposite side of the lower back. Sorry, on the opposite side of the back. The first is going to be working in the lower back. We're going to hug the fingers around the side of the body, and like you're holding onto a cliff, We're pulling back. Can you see how on this lower band of tissue here, my fingers are hooking and pulling? All the way to the spine. You can repeat that again. Hooking and pulling. And we're going to do the same hook and pull on the shoulder. So you can come up to the shoulder, hook the fingers around the shoulder and pull with your body weight as if you're hanging off a cliff. Hook and pull. Okay?
Scapula thumb stretch.
Good. So the next is scapular thumb stretch. And for this, we're going to line up the thumbs next to the spine. With pressure, we're then going to push away. If you need to, you might need to pick up the scapula a little bit here so you can get underneath it. And stretch it away. Next point. I'm slightly picking up the scapula so I can get a little bit further underneath it. Don't forget to work the shoulder. Some people just finish doing scapular stretches here and they completely forget about this part. And that's the part that needs it the most a lot of the time, isn't it? So don't forget to do this part here. Ooh, Masami. Okay, and then?
Approach to the other side of bed and repeat step 26 to 9 on the other side. So 26, figure of 8.
Okay, so you, good, thank you. You effleurage to the other side of the bed and then you do figure of 8. You do hook and pull on the lower back. You do hook and pull on the shoulder. And you do the scapular thumb stretch. Okay?
Finishing with effleurage and a connection.
So anywhere in any of the protocols it says connection, sometimes I'm going to specify where to connect to the body. If I don't specify where in the protocol, then just connect to any energy centers that you feel connected to, that you feel intuitively you want to go to. So to finish, I'm just going to give an effleurage. And for example, before I cover up the back, I can finish by connecting to base and heart, for example. Okay, just resting the hands. Connection. And then gently lift the hands off. Next step. Poultice acupressure points. So, in the... so, Masami, we don't have the salt yet. So I'm doing pretend poultices. So I'm sorry, these are not how they would usually feel. But don't worry. They'll still feel kind of nice. Okay, so then we're going to take 2 poultices out of the cabinet and we're going to poultice on the acupressure points up the spine. These are very easy to remember. We're just going to start on this point here. Center of the leg underneath the buttock crease. And if you look in your protocols, at the back of this protocol, you will see, hold on, I've got it here, you will see a diagram here. So if we can get this on the film. We're going to start with bladder 36, these points here. Okay, and then very simply, we're just going to do pressure points every 3 centimetres up the spine, all the way to the shoulders. Then we come out to gallbladder 21 on top of the shoulders and finish with governing vessel 16. Okay, pretty simple. So, with our Himalayan salt poultices, you just want to take them to the points and press. And you can do about 5 pulses on each point. Okay? So, Masami, you're going to have to pretend that this is with salt. And it's a lot warmer than it's going to be. Use your imagination. And then we work all the way up the spine. Now these acupressure points, remember there are 250 points on the body in Tibetan philosophy. And these acupressure points are very powerful points in terms of points where joints, muscles, veins, flesh, they all meet, don't they? So if you're putting pressure, if you're putting heat on these points, it's a very good way of nourishing everything around it. And these acupressure points that we're working up the spine, every 3 centimetres up the spine, these are nourishing and energizing all of the organs of the body as well. I'm pulsing 5 times on each of the points. How are you feeling about this so far? A lot of the techniques you already know? Some? Many? None?
I feel like it's similar, so
Yeah.
we can just...
Okay. Come up to gallbladder 21. Up the neck. And finishing up into the occipital point. Okay, if you have enough poultices and you're using real poultices, then you can very slowly slide them down the arms and rest them in the hands. And they should fit in the hands. Okay, I'm going to leave them here, but they're not going to be very comfortable. Okay, the next step is...
What is meridians?
Right, so I'm probably at this point. I'm going to just take out these. How many stones are there at the end? Let me see. So take 2 more poultices. This is going to be more challenging to show you. These poultices. And we're going to very, very slowly glide, first of all, down the inner bladder meridian. and then up the governing vessel, up the spine, no pressure. It'll be easier for it to glide on the skin with the salt. And then once you reach the top, we're going to come down the outer bladder meridian, and up the governing vessel. Okay, when you finish that, I think it says you can leave them
Circle one.
just one behind, sorry. So you can leave these poultices, if you've already got them in the hands, you can leave them in the neck if they'll fit. And then you take your hot crystals and your warm basalt stone, and you're going to circle the stones and crystals over the points, over the elements. So start with the large flat basalt stone over the back, over the lower back, and leave it on the base. This is a little bit too hot to use still, so I'm just going to cool it down with some water. We need to understand when to take these out, so depending on how hot the cabinets get, I think maybe at the beginning of the poultices, when we start to take the poultices out. But like with any hot stone massage, you might need to apply a little bit of oil to the stone. If it still feels too hot, you need to place it down and just start by circling over the point. Okay, keep taking the heat from the hands. Ooh, it's still so hot. It's going to take some time to cool down, isn't it? Yeah. I'm just going to wait. Sorry, video. It's still too hot.
Should I put in the water?
It's almost there. I hope. Okay, let me try Masami. Let me know if it's too hot, okay? How's that feeling?
A little hot.
Yeah. It's a little hot. Okay, let me put it in some water. So we need to find a way tomorrow of figuring out exactly when to take it out of the cabinet. So I know usually you put them in the hot water. And actually, if you have the hot water, you can leave it in the hot water. Okay, if you prefer to do that. So that's actually gone a little bit too cold. But you can start just by circling the hot rock, the hot stone, on the lower back, and then leave it on the base chakra, or on the base element, sorry. I usually tuck this into the underwear, okay, to keep it from moving, because otherwise it can slip off. And then you're going to take your hot crystals and you're going to circle one on the sacrum, leaving it there on the sacrum. If it won't stay, it might have to stay in the lower back if it slips. One on the solar plexus. Essentially, we're leaving a volcanic stone on the earth And then the rose quartz to help balance the other elements. I put too much oil on. Okay. No pressure with the stones because otherwise they will hit the spine. Leave it on the part of the back that it won't slip. Okay, sorry guys, I put too much oil on. Just take it a little bit off. It's when I was waiting for the stone to get cool, I started massaging too much. So then on the upper back, then it won't slip. And lastly, in the space element, and you can leave this, I mean, on these beds, I think it's safe for you to leave it on the neck. As long as their head is comfortable, they're not going to go from side to side. If you think it's going to fall off, then leave it a little bit further down. Okay? And then we want to cover the back. And make sure you tuck the towel in at the shoulders so the stones don't fall off the back. Okay? So that's the back finished.